Have you ever tried so hard to make something perfect, only to find yourself completely miserable when it doesn't work out? It's a feeling many of us know all too well. Today, I want to share a story about a man named David, a retired accountant who learned one of life's most beautiful lessons in the most unexpected of places, his garden. David was a man of numbers, of order, of precision. His entire life had been about balancing ledgers and making sure everything added up perfectly. So when he retired, he decided to apply that same logic to gardening. This wasn't going to be just a hobby, it was going to be a masterpiece of control. He spent the entire winter not relaxing, but researching. He created an incredibly detailed, color-coded spreadsheet. It mapped out his entire garden plot like a blueprint, a perfect grid of rectangles. Each square was assigned a specific vegetable with exact spacing and a scientifically projected harvest date. This was his plan, and he was sure it was foolproof. When spring finally arrived, David executed his plan with the precision of a military general. His rows were ruler straight. He sifted the soil until it was fine and completely free of any rebellious weeds. He planted his seeds heirloom tomatoes, perfect little Nance carrots, delicate Bib lettuce with a clear vision in his mind. He expected a garden that looked exactly like the flawless pictures in his gardening books. Neat, heavy-laden plants and geometrically perfect vegetables. But nature, as it often does, had other ideas. First, an unexpected late frost stunted his precious tomato plants. Then came the slugs. These glistening little vandals appeared overnight, chewing lacy, intricate holes into his prized lettuce leaves. A sudden, violent summer storm lashed his perfect rows, leaving his tomato plants sprawled in the mud like fallen soldiers. And the carrots. When he finally pulled one up in a fit of frustration, it was a fork and twisted joke, nothing like the elegant, straight cylinders he had imagined. Every one of these events felt like a personal insult to David. His relaxing retirement hobby had quickly become a source of constant, simmering anxiety. He waged chemical warfare on the slugs, desperately trying to protect his lettuce. He propped up his battered tomato plants with a tangled, unsightly web of stakes and string. He would just stand and stare at his garden with a sense of profound disappointment. In his eyes, it was a flawed, chaotic, and messy failure. One evening, as David was stewing in his frustration, his neighbor, an elderly woman named Elara, wandered over. Elara's own garden was a complete contrast to David's rigid plot. It was a vibrant, slightly overgrown, beautiful tangle of flowers, herbs, and vegetables, all living together in a kind of happy chaos. She didn't comment on his stricken plants or the general state of disarray. Instead, she pointed to a corner of his garden where a few brave marigolds had seated themselves. Their bright orange heads were bobbing cheerfully amidst the mess. "Look at that," she said softly. "They found their own perfect spot. You know," she continued, "you are fighting the garden instead of working with it. A garden has its own mind." Then, she introduced him to a concept he had never heard of, Wabi-Sabi. "It's a Japanese idea," she explained, "about finding beauty in things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. Think of the moss growing on an old stone, the beautiful crack in a cherished ceramic bowl, or the gnarled, twisted shape of an ancient tree." It was the complete opposite of everything David believed in. At first, he completely resisted the idea. To him, it just sounded like a fancy excuse for being sloppy and not trying hard enough. But he couldn't deny the facts. His own method, his quest for perfection, was yielding nothing but stress and misery. So, with a great deal of reluctance, he decided to experiment. He took the nasturtium seeds Elara offered him and, instead of planting them in a neat row, he let them spill where they wanted. He planted fragrant basil and chives near his tomatoes not because his spreadsheet told him to, but because Elara said they were good companion plants that helped keep pests away. Slowly, David started to let go. He stopped pulling every single weed, allowing a few clovers to grow, forming a soft green carpet between his rows. And he began to learn something new. He learned to appreciate the jagged, sun-warmed perfection of a freshly picked tomato, even if it was a little lumpy or misshapen. He discovered that the bumblebees absolutely loved the messy borage flowers he let grow, and their constant buzzing presence made his squash plants more productive than ever before. His garden began to transform. It became less like a vegetable factory and more like a living, breathing ecosystem. It was definitely less perfect by his old standards, but it was undeniably more alive. The air was filled with the rich scent of herbs and the gentle hum of insects. Colors clashed and complemented each other in a joyful, unplanned riot of life. One afternoon, standing in his garden with dirt under his nails and the warm sun on his back, he took a moment to really look at what he had created. The tomatoes were staked simply, but they were heavy with fruit. The carrots were hidden beneath the soil, but he knew they were thriving. And bright orange nasturtiums tumbled beautifully over the edge of the raised bed. It was wild, it was resilient, and it was absolutely beautiful. A deep, unexpected wave of satisfaction washed over him. By letting go of his rigid attachment to a specific, perfect result, David had found something far more valuable. He had discovered a deeper, more vibrant reality. He had stopped trying to build a product and had started nurturing a living world. David's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest beauty lies not in perfect control, but in embracing the wonderful, messy, and unpredictable nature of life itself. Maybe we could all use a little more Wabi-Sabi in our lives. Thanks so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe for more content. See you next time.